Paragraph C, I refer to these events as a royal procession because he will come in great glory with flaming fire, trumpet blasts, billions of angels, billions of saints on clouds for all the earth to see his overwhelming power as he takes over everything. That's a procession. I mean, fire, trumpets, angels, all the nations bowing down, and 238 nations, every one of them, they bow down and accept his leadership. And those that don't, they're dealt with by the judgments of God. It is the most grand moment of natural history. Now, Paul, paragraph D, said that this thing will happen. He said the rapture happens at the last trumpet, at the seventh trumpet. Now, this is when the royal procession begins, at the seventh trumpet. This is when Daniel 10 verse 8 says that the purpose of God is complete. The church is mature to enter into relationship of ruling with Jesus on the earth. Paragraph E. Now, people read the book of Revelation and they don't see all of these events, all of them fleshed out in the book of Revelation, because we need the entire testimony of the prophets, Old and New Testament, to get the whole story. We can't find all the details in one book. We would like them all to be in one book. And the Lord says, no, I've put them in the book, Genesis to Revelation. There's 150 chapters in the Bible, of which the end times is the primary subject. 150 chapters, and the whole storyline is couched in those chapters, Old and New Testament. But there's three different descriptions in the Bible, in the New Testament, that describe the rapture. Paragraph 1, Jesus gave the cosmic view, and the emphasis is the glory in the sky. Paul gave the pastoral view. The emphasis is the effect on the saints who are raptured. And John, in the book of Revelation, he gave the political view, because he emphasized what happens in the nations as Jesus takes over the earth. So all three views are in the New Testament, but they're not found entirely in one place. Paragraph F, kind of set the stage here so that we can go through the book and it will make more sense. There's three types of people on the earth when Jesus appears in the sky at the seventh trumpet. There's the redeemed, they're raptured. There's the reprobate, they take the mark of the beast, they're executed. And there's the resistors, the unsaved survivors. They are not raptured, but neither have they taken the mark of the beast. And there could be tens of millions, or there could be a couple 100 million, nobody knows. But it's not just 5 or 10, it's a substantial number. They did not take the mark of the beast, but neither were they saved. Those are the ones that will continue to populate the earth in marriage and childbearing throughout the millennial kingdom. Them, their children, and their children, and their children, etc. Top of page 3. We're going to look at these three stages. Again, the reason, because it's critical to understand the book of Revelation. You can't separate the book of Revelation from the larger testimony of the prophetic scriptures. Some people want to take the book and say, Lord, every fact ought to be in the book. And the Lord says, no. It fits in the mosaic of all the prophetic books. It must be read in context to the larger testimony from the prophetic scriptures. Stage 1, we're going to look at it again. He comes across the sky. He's seen by every person. His kingship is announced. Over 238 nations, or however many nations will be there at that time. And his kingship is asserted over every nation. Every eye will see him. Paragraph H. They will see him clearly enough to mourn. Again, it's not a peripheral vision, a flash of lightning in the peripheral vision. They actually see him. He is moving slow enough and close enough to the earth to be seen by people. Now, he's the average size of a man. He's not 1,000 miles in the sky. He's not 10 miles in the sky. He's close enough to be seen. I don't know how close that is. But they have to see him, and he doesn't need TV. He doesn't need internet to make this happen. And he's got to move slow enough to where they say, that is Jesus. And we're in trouble because we've resisted him. So Jesus mentioned the morning and the eyes seeing him, and so did John. Both of them gave testimony to this truth. It's a very important truth. He doesn't appear in a second, everybody's gone, and that's it. Every eye will see him while he's on the clouds. Someone says, how long? I don't know. More than an hour. It takes more than an hour to cross the earth a number of times where everybody can see him, and they can have an emotional response to what they see. Stage 2, paragraph I. His procession on the land. Isaiah 63 gives a very graphic description of Jesus marching up through what is modern-day Jordan on his way to Jerusalem. He's on the ground, by the way. He's not on a cloud in Isaiah 63. He's marching. Verse 1. The question is asked, who is this one coming from Edom? Edom was the ancient name. Who is this one? And you can read the whole text on your own at another time because this is abbreviated. Who is the one traveling in the greatness of his strength? And then the question is asked in verse 2, why is your clothing red? And the answer is because there's blood on it. So Jesus is marching up on the ground, on the land, on his way to Jerusalem. And the question is, why is your garment, why are your clothing red? Verse 3, he says, I've trodden them, meaning the nations. If you read it in context, it's clear it's the nations. I've been troddening the nations in my anger. I have trampled them in my fury. And their blood sprinkled on my garment because he is in close and personal contact in the battle. Now that's new to some people because their idea is that everything is purely supernatural. There is a natural dimension in the midst of the supernatural dimension as well. Jesus is coming to Jerusalem as the greater David, the warrior king who actually defeats the armies around Jerusalem in the way David did. And blood actually gets on his garments. And he wants that to happen. That's not an accident. He's making a statement. I was personally involved with the deliverance of the nation of Israel, number one. And number two, the blood's on his garments. He's telling the nations, I'm not ashamed that I killed them. Because the Jesus that kills his enemies is a Jesus that makes us very uncomfortable. But he says, I am not afraid to be known according to what I will do in that day. Habakkuk